The Cemetery Preservation Award recognizes individuals or a not-for-profit heritage organization that have demonstrated an outstanding commitment to the preservation and protection of cemeteries in Ontario. The OHS is pleased to present the 2020 Cemetery Preservation Award to the Cemetery Guardians for their outstanding efforts to restore, preserve, and maintain Wilson's Hill Cemetery. The Guardians is a group of local citizens that came forward over 5 years ago to rejuvenate two important local cemeteries, Wilson's Hill Cemetery and Middleton Christ's Church Cemetery. At Wilson's Hill Cemetery, the Guardians have reinstated the Victorian charm of the grounds by removing old shrubbery and dead trees, clearing fallen logs and brush piles, cleaning up the monuments and tombstones, reinstalling original metal fencing, and installing new visitor benches at the top of the hill. The group is completely self-sufficient. They have donated and provided their own tools, supplies, fuel, and time in order to restore the cemetery to a state where both descendants and local residents can enjoy the grounds and pay their respects. At the request of the Guardians, the municipality of West Gwillimbury Township has replaced the rusted fences with new ones. Future project plans include a ground-penetrating radar survey, repairs to the cairn, and the installation of new ornamental fencing. The Guardians are an outstanding example of what can be accomplished when a dedicated group of local residents volunteer their time, energy, and resources to restore a public asset that has been neglected. Thanks to their efforts, this historic burial ground is now being looked after the way it should be. The OHS Honors and Awards Committee is pleased to recognize the Cemetery Guardians.
Greetings from the Cemetery Guardians to the board and members of the Ontario Historical Society, the Honors and Awards Committee, and other members of OHS. Welcome to Wilson's Hill Cemetery, located on land that was part of the Lake Simcoe Nottawasaga Purchase, signed between the British Crown and representatives of the Ojibwe people in 1818 on what is now Treaty 18 territory. This land has been the home of the Wendat, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Ojibwe First Nations, and now immigrants and refugees from all over the world who have gratefully settled on Treaty 18 land. Our sincere thanks go to OHS for honoring the Cemetery Guardians with the Society's Cemetery Preservation Award. We would also like to thank Janie Cooper Wilson for her nomination. While we do what we do out of love and respect for the sacred grounds of our local heritage cemeteries, this provincial recognition is greatly appreciated as it highlights what a small group of dedicated volunteers can accomplish. We hope the success of the Wilson's Hill project inspires others to form their own cemetery guardians, to identify neglected and forgotten inactive cemeteries in your municipalities, and to volunteer your time and energy towards their restoration and continuing care. You will soon discover that working in the fresh air with a team of like-minded history buffs, surrounded by the peace and serenity of an ancient place, is a very rewarding experience. The Cemetery Guardians was formed following a successful summer helping the Newton Robinson United Church Cemetery Board survey and restore its cemetery grounds. Tecumseh and West Gwillimbury Historical Society members wanted to continue this work at Wilson's Hill and Christchurch, two local inactive cemeteries in need of attention. For the first 4 years, the team concentrated on Wilson's Hill, just north of Newton Robinson. In the 30 years since its last restoration, led by Neil McBride, heavy undergrowth had obscured most of the stones around the periphery of the hill. A dense canopy of black locusts shaded the center plots. Some of the trees were dead or dying, or had crashed onto gravestones and toppled obelisks from their plinths. Tombstones, corner posts, and footstones had sunk into the soil and were covered with years of thatch and leaf mulch. The enclosure railings had all been removed and lay abandoned in a pile, making it difficult to distinguish the family plots. When you visit Wilson's Hill Cemetery today, you will find a very different landscape after 5 years of effort and thousands of volunteer hours. The undergrowth has been cleared, revealing inscriptions last recorded in 1981. Dead and damaged trees have been removed, preserving the canopy while allowing in more light. With the reinstallation of the enclosures, complete with chain garlands and dangles, the family plots are distinct in the layouts, easier to navigate. Meanwhile, our researcher and her assistants have pored over historical records and obituaries, seeking out and preserving the history of Wilson's Hill and its inhabitants, even as the cemetery itself is being preserved. Come for a visit. Climb to the top of Wilson's Hill, then relax on a bench while you inhale our fresh country air and contemplate the past.